तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the study of the Yoga Sutras. We were studying the 27th Sutra of the first pada, that is Tasya Vachaka Pranavaha. In that thing, the discussion was about is the relationship permanent or very temporary? Tasya Vachaka Pranavaha. Vachakam is that which designates is Vachakam. That which is designated is Vachyam. That is a designated relationship. Vachya Vachaka Sambandhaha. That is what they were saying. Vachyam is that which is designated or told, and Vachakam is that which conveys the meaning, that is the word and its meaning. Shabda Artha. That is what it is. In simple words, Shabda and Artha. And the theory of Mimamsakas, we were just about to discuss that in the last class. We were just about to, what about this Nitya Sambandha? How do you understand this Nitya Sambandha? I was telling about the cycles of creation. In each cycle, you see, when in every cycle of creation after Pralaya, there is another creation is there. And again, that Brahma again does some tapas. That Brahma who comes from the Navi of Vishnu. That is again going to Puranic way. But even otherwise, even in Mimamsa Shastra, what they say is that Brahma does tapas. And when he does tapas, then in that tapas, all those earlier things, they just come to his mind. Earlier things means what all was there in the earlier kalpa, earlier creation. Dhata yatha purvam akalpayin. That is the line. Dhata yatha purvam. As it was there in the earlier kalpa, he creates. That is, in the earlier kalpa there were elephants. So he remembers the word elephant and he creates the elephants. He remembers the word humans and he creates humans. He remembers the word ant and then he creates ants. So in that way, the Mimamsakas say that Veda, Mimamsaka, the proposition of Mimamsaka is that Veda is something which is eternal. Vedas, they are called Shabda Nityatva Vadina. Shabda Nityatva. There is what is called a Shabda Nityatva Vada. That is, the word is eternal. So that is what it means. So what is this Shabda Nityatva Vada? Then you see, Veda is said to be Nitya. In fact, this discussion takes place in the Brahma Sutras, in one Adhikarana called Devatadhikarana. There is one Adhikaranam called Devatadhikarana. That is in the very first pada, first adhyaya, third pada. First adhyaya, third pada. I have not noted the sutra number. In that Devatadhikaranam, there is a discussion. So you say that, okay, Devatas, the question there is slightly different. The question there is whether the Devatas are also entitled for Brahmajnana. So that is the discussion there. So in that discussion, it goes on, and then it comes to Shabda Nityatva Vada. So then the point is, yes, the Brahma, he remembered in that new Kalpa, Brahma remembered the Veda. And when he remembered the Veda, he remembered the word Indra. And he created Indra. He remembered the word Bhu. Sa Bhu iti Vyaharat. Sa Bhu, there is one line which says, Sa Bhu iti Vyaharat. Sa Bhumi Asrujat. What is it? Sa Bhu iti Vyaharat. So he just said, Bhu, let there be Bhumi. And then the Bhumi he created. Similarly, Sa Bhuvaha iti Yaharat. He said Bhuvaha, that is Antariksham. And then he created that Antariksham. Again, Sa Suvaha ityaharat, and then he said he created that heaven. Somewhat similar to the opening lines of the Bible, which says God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So these lines which I told, they are quoted in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya by Shankaracharya, and these are the Taittiriya Brahmanam. So we can't debate. We don't have to debate whether Taittiriya Brahmanam is older or Bible is older. But anyway, in that Taittiriya Brahmanam, it says that the Lord or Creator, whoever is that Creator Brahma, even then that Creator Brahma changes from Kalpa to Kalpa. Similarly, Indra, Vishnu, etc., they change from Kalpa to Kalpa. A particular cosmic function called creation is called Brahma. A particular cosmic function called sustenance is called sustenance of what is created. That is called Vishnu. Another cosmic function called resolution. That is called Rudra. So various cosmic functions are given different names. So that is what we find in Vedanta. That is the difference between Vedanta and Purana. Purana portrays as though they are all real characters who are all there and all that. Vedanta tells they are merely cosmic functions. Those cosmic functions have been given certain names. So that is what Vedanta tells. So anyway, so Shabda Nityatva, coming back to the Shabda Nityatva, we are talking about this sutra called Tasya Vachaka Pranava. This Pranava, I will now share the text. Let me share the text. I hope you are able to see this. Sanketastu Ishwarasya Stitamevartam Abhinayati. So this line we read under this commentary, Vyasa Bhashya, we read this line. Sanketastu Ishwarasya Stitamevartam Abhinayati. Stitamevartam is already existing meaning. It is conveying. Then yatha avasthitaha pitaputrayo sambandha, just as the existing relationship between the father and son. We know, oh, he is the father, he is the son, etc. So that is how they convey. And sargantareshvapi vachya vachaka shakti apekshaha. Vachya vachaka shakti apekshaha. Apeksha means depending on that vachya vachaka shakti. That vachaka is having a shakti. Every word has got a shakti. That is the ability to convey a particular meaning. So vachaka shakti apekshaha. So in every sargantareshu, in all other sargas also, depending on the same relationship between Shabda and Artha, Tathaiva Sanketa Kriyate. So we may get a doubt, okay, does God know all the individual human beings and all that? So he need not know. That is, he need not know each and every individual. He knows the type. Okay, human being, he creates type. Cow, he creates a type. Horse, he creates a type. So individuals are totally different. Individuals, they come later. They are born according to their karma because they have their own Linga Sharira which is there. That Linga Sharira which was there in that Prakriti Laya, we also saw that. Again, it comes out and takes a body in accordance with its own karma and whatever vasanas are there, samskaras are there. Tathaiva Sanketa Kriyate. Then Sampratipatti Nityataya. Then Vyasa is telling very cautiously. He is not saying that this word, the relationship between the word and the meaning is as eternal as the Mimamsakas say, but he is giving a slightly diluted word, that is Sampratipatti Nityataya. Sampratipatti is a sort of consensus. Pratipatti is understanding. Sampratipatti is a common understanding. Sampratipatti, some is common. That is Sampratipatti. The opposite is Vipratipatti. Suppose we are disputing on a particular thing. So we say there is a Vipratipatti. So what is the Vipratipatti? Cause for Vipratipatti? Sampratipatti is a sort of a common understanding, a sort of consensus. So Sampratipatti Nityataya. So this Sampratipatti Nityata is there. We all go to, when we see a cow, all of us say that is a cow. When we see a horse, all of us, we say there is it is a horse. In some other language, it may be different. We are not talking about differences in languages. We are talking about the sambandha in a particular say culture, in a particular society or a particular language. So there is a Sampratipatti Nityataya, Nityaha Shabdartha Sambandhaha. So this is something which is, it should not be taken as Nitya in the highest sense. In a Vyavaharika sense, there is what is called a reality, supreme reality and transactional reality. We need not take it in that sense, but here, for all these things, we take it as Vyavaharika Satyam. So, Nityaha Shabdartha Sambandhaha iti Agaminaha Pratijanate. So, he is very carefully saying, Agaminaha, Agama means Veda. Those who are adherents of the Veda, they are the Agaminaha, Agamaha. Agama is Veda. Agaminaha are those who adhere to the Veda, who stick to Veda, who swear by Veda. So those people, pratijanate, pratijanate means pratigyam kurvanti. They assert, they very solidly say, they very affirmatively say, that is pratijanate. What Sampratipatti Nityaha Shabdartha Sambandhaha iti te pratijanate. So that is how they say. Then, yeah, here I am referring to what is this Devatadikaranam. So for that discussion on the eternality of Shabda. So somebody who is interested in, people who are interested in that, you may please see this Devatadikaranam, which is in the very first adhyaya of Brahma Sutras, first adhyaya, third pada. Then we will go to the next sutra. Then there is a small avatarika. Vijnata Vachya Vachakatvasya Yoginaha Yoginah, that is Shashti Ekavachanam, for the yogi. For the yogi who has known Vachya Vachaka. So for that yogi who knows that relationship between this Vachya and Vachaka, that is the name and the form, name and the meaning, or the name is Om and the meaning is Ishvara. The relationship between the designated, that is Ishvara, and the designator Om. We have seen that this one word Om, this letter Om signifies Ishvara. So for the person who knows these two things, what is he supposed to do? He is supposed to do that. Next sutra is tad japas tad artha bhavanam. Tat japah tad artha bhavanam. Tat japah tasya japah tasya omkarasya japah. That is the meditation of that omkara. Here the meditation means a repetition of a name. Japa. Japa actually is a repetition of a name or a mantra. It can also be mantra japa. But then what is it we are doing that when we are reciting? Repeating. Suppose we are just reciting Gayatri mantra and then the mind is wandering somewhere else. Then what is the use? Even if you recite 1,000 times, it is of no use. So that is why they say that japaha tad artha bhavanam. In fact, this line can mean that it can give two meanings. Tat japaha tad artha bhavanam means its japa means contemplating on the meaning. That is one type. Here Vyasa gives a commentary that tad japaha, that is a repetition, and also contemplating on the meaning. So he is splitting it into two. So we can take it as two. Japa actually means artha bhavanam. We can take it that way. Or like Sage Vyasa, this commentator Vyasa is saying, we can take it as japa, that is a repetition, and also contemplation on its meaning. They are prescribed. We have to use this kriya in order to complete the sentence. Otherwise, the sentence is not completed, isn't it? Tad japaha, tad artha bhavanam. They are prescribed for this person. Vachya vachakatvasya yoginah, vijnata vachya vachakatvasya yoginah, for this gentleman. Tad japaha, tad artha bhavanam bhavati. Or vidhiyate, it is prescribed, something like that. So tad japaha, tad artha bhavanam, for the person knowing the relationship between the word and its meaning, its meditation and contemplation of its meaning are prescribed. The commentary is again very simple. Pranavasya japaha, pranavabhidheyasya cha ishvarasya bhavanam. Pranavasya japaha, pranava. We were seeing in the last class, pranava is prakarshena nuyate iti pranava. This is a particular symbol by which God is highly, that is the highest way of worshipping God. Highest way of worshipping the reality is prakarshena nuyate. That is the excellent form of praising. Prakarshena nuyate, the excellent form of praising is this Omkara. Pranava, that is why it is called Pranava, Prakarshena nuyate. All other things, they become inferior. Pranavasya japaha, Pranava abhidheyasya cha ishvarasya cha bhavanam. Pranava abhidheya, abhidhanam is name, abhidheyam is the form or the object. Abhidhana is the name. When I say pen, the word pen is abhidhana and abhidheya is the object. So that way pranava abhidheyasya cha ishvarasya cha ishvarasya bhavanam. Bhavanam means you are contemplating on that, on the nature of that. So then what exactly is that? Let us see. Tadasya yoginah pranavam japatah pranavarthancha bhavayatah chittam ekagram sampadhyate. Tadasya, tad means tada. That means tada, tad asya yoginah, for that yogi. Pranavam japatah, for the person who is doing japa of that pranava. And pranavarthancha bhavayatah. And pranavarthancha bhavayatah means one who is contemplating on the meaning of that pranava also. Then chittam ekagram sampadhyate. Chittam, the mind, becomes highly focused, one-pointed, that is highly concentrated. That is what happens. Chittam ekagram sampadhyate. Tathacha uktam, thus it is said, tathacha uktam. So here, what is it we have seen? For the yogi who is reciting pranava and contemplating on its meaning, he will attain the concentration of mind. Chittam ekagram sampadhyate. He attains. Sampadhyate means he attains. Then tathacha uktam, thus it is said, swadhyayad yogam asita yogat swadhyaya mamanet. I have not deliberately split these things. because you are supposed to understand and split them. Swadhyayat, Swadhyayat yogam asita, yogat swadhyayam amanet, Swadhyaya yoga sampatya paramatma prakashate. Oh, there should be one stop here also. Yeah, this line has to be here. Prakashate iti. That iti has to come this side. Prakashate iti. So this shloka says Swadhyayat. That is by Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is a technical, is again not a very great technical term. Normally it is used. Tapaswadhyaya niratam tapasvi vagvidamvaram. We see the first line of Valmiki's Ramayana. Tapaswadhyaya niratam. He is a person who is engaged in tapas and also Swadhyaya. What is this tapas and Swadhyaya? Tapa is alochane, tapa alochane. Swadhyaya, su a adhyaya. Su ante sukruta. Su means sukrutam. That I just noted the meaning here from the dictionary. Sukrutaya avrutya adhyaya. So that is what in the dictionary Shabda Kalpadruma gives the meaning as Swadhyaya for the adhyaya, for the word Swadhyaya. It gives the meaning as su means very well. A means very fully. Very a samantat, that is the meaning. The upasarga a means fully. Su a adhyaya. Su a plus adhyaya becomes Swadhyaya. There is another a also, Swadhyaya. It becomes su a adhyaya Swadhyaya. So that is very well recited. Suppose Veda students, what do? They recite the Veda repeatedly with the same swara and all that, so that they can learn it very, very well, very correctly. So that is what Swadhyaya. And at the same time, contemplating on the meaning. So that means we have to know the text. Without knowing the text, there is no question of japa. Suppose you are trying to know, do some japa of a mantra, and you don't know the meaning. It doesn't make any sense. So you have to know the meaning also. That is what is contemplated by that Swadhyaya. Very well you have to understand it. Very well you have to understand and then contemplate on it. Swadhyayat yogam asita. Yogam, the word yogam is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Yogaha is the word. So yogam is Dvitiya Vibhakti. Swadhyayat yogam asita. One has to attain. Asita means you have to attain. You have to attain that stability in that yoga by this Swadhyaya. And yoga Swadhyaya mamanet. And by this yoga, and by the physically sitting and then contemplating on it, having an asana, etc., the physical aspect, Swadhyaya mamanet. You have to strengthen that Swadhyaya. So these two things are mutually supportive. Swadhyaya and yoga are mutually supportive. Swadhyaya yoga, Swadhyaya mamanet. And by doing that, Swadhyaya yoga sampatya. Sampatti means acquiring something. We know what is the word sampat. Sampat means wealth. Daiva asura sampat vibhaga yoga. We know that word. Daiva asura sampat. Daivi sampat, asura sampat. Sampat is something which has been acquired by us. Then this sampatti is acquisition. Sampatya, by that acquisition. That is Swadhyaya yoga sampatya, by the acquisition or attainment of Swadhyaya and yoga. Then Paramatma, Parama Atma, that is the supreme being. In this case, Purusha. In Vedanta, we call it Brahman. Here, of course, we call it Purusha. And the Purusha also, the individual also is Purusha. The individual also is Purusha, like Jiva is Brahma. In Vedanta, we say Jiva is Brahma. Here, this individual Purusha is also not different from that absolute Purusha. So the supreme being, Paramatma, Prakashate iti. So this is it is from some Purana. It is said to be from some Vishnu Purana. Yes, Swadhyaya Yoga Sampatya Paramatma Prakashate. It is from some Purana. I forgot to note it. Anyway, it is from some Purana. So Swadhyaya is knowing the Veda very, very perfectly. Then Kimcha Asya Bhavati, the next shloka, the next sutra. Kimcha Asya Bhavati, Kimcha Asya Bhavati. You can take it, it can give two meanings actually. Kimcha Asya Bhavati can also be a question. Kim Bhavati Asya. That also is, what will happen to him then? That is one meaning. Or Kimcha, Kimcha means moreover. We know the word Kimcha. Kimcha, if you put a comma, it becomes moreover. Kimcha Asya Bhavati, that is moreover. To him, what happens? What happens is, Tataha, प्रत्यक्चेतनाधिगमो अंतरायाभावश्च प्रत्यक्चेतना अधिगमः ततः by that means by such devotion and also by such japa, not only devotion, submission, not only submission but also by that japa, pratyak chetana adhigamah. Pratyak chetana, pratyak means inner. There are two words, pratyak and parak. Pratyak is inside, inner. Parak is outer. Kathopanishad, that shloka says, that mantra says, Paranchi khani vyatrunat swayambhu. Paranchi is plural. Paranchi khani. Kham is indriyam. Khani is indriyani. Vyatrunat swayambhu. Oh, this swayambhu, this soul, this God or creator has actually punished the indriyas by making them external oriented. So all these indriyas, they are always external oriented and they don't look inside. So that is the problem. And kaschit dhiraha, pratyagatmanam aikshat. That is kaschit dhiraha, some rare person. He is called a dhira. And dhira is not a person who battles with 100 people like in all our movies. In our movies, dhira means Magadhira and all these. Dhira means he is a person who is fighting with so many people. But here in Vedanta, dhira is a person who controls his own mind. Dhira, dhiyam, buddhi vrittim, rati iti, grunhati iti dhira. Dhiyam, rati iti dhira. That is one person, a person who controls the dhi is called dhira. So that dhira, pratyagatmanam aishat, he looks inside, pratyagatma. So here this word pratyak chetana is not different from pratyagatma, same thing. Chetana is chaitanyam, consciousness, atma. So pratyak chetana adhigamaha, pratyak chetanayaha adhigamaha, that is understanding of the inner self. Pratyak chetana adhigama means understanding of that inner self. And antaraya abhavascha. Antaraya, when you have realized it, then obviously all other things, they become irrelevant. They just don't, they run away. When a person who is very solidly established in the understanding of Brahman, all other disturbances, all other things, they run away. So antaraya means some disturbance. Antara means in between. Antara, something. Angana, antare, antara, madhavo, something like that. Antara is in between. So antara means in between. Aya means comes. Antara, aya. Antara, in between it comes. So that means some sort of disturbance comes in between. So that is something which comes in between is called antaraya. That is a disturbance. So tataha, by such contemplation, what happens to him? Pratyak chetana adhigamaha, that is realization of the inner self. Adhigama is understanding or realization of that inner self. Apicha, that apicha there in the sutra, apicha, and also antaraya bhavaha, that is absence of disturbances. That is, literally, antaraya is that which comes in between. Then realization of the inner self and also absence of disturbances result from that. Not only devotion, like I have to say contemplation, not merely devotion. Mere devotion doesn't get all these things. I should put what is it? Contemplation. So that japas tadartha bhavana. We are talking about tadartha bhavana. So this I will have to change it. Okay. Then we come to the next sutra, next point. Te tavadanta, the commentary. Te ye tavadantarayaha vyadhi pravrutayaha. Ye tavadantarayaha, ye antarayaha. That is these antarayas, these disturbances. What are they? Vyadhi pravrutayaha, vyadhi, etc. Which he is going to say in the next sutra. Vyadhi pravrutayaha. Pravruti means pravrutayaha means etc. Te tavad Ishvara pranidhanat na bhavanti. Te, by this submission to Ishvara pranidhanat. Submission to Ishvara not only implies not merely going and breaking coconuts, etc. That japaha tadartha bhavana, that is what is submission. Not merely breaking coconuts and then putting some money in the fountain and asking for so many things. That is not pranidhanam. Pranidhanam is understanding the greatness of that reality. So realizing that greatness. So that is what is pranidhana. So Ishvara pranidhanat na bhavanti. Te tavat Ishvara pranidhanat, by this devotion and also japa of that Omkara, all these antarayas, they just run away. These disturbances such as illness, etc. will not exist by such devotion to Ishvara. In fact, the devotee has no time for them. The devotee he has no time. In fact, the person who is there happily reading some Mahabharata, happily reading something like Ramayana, whatever it is, or reading some other Upanishad. So he will not have time to think about various stupid things. So all other things, they run away. Naturally, such people, their health also is really good. Then Swarupa Darshanamapi Asya Bhavati. Asya means for that Purusha, for that person who is that seeker, the seeker who is doing all this. That is one who is having that devotion to God and also contemplating that, doing that Artha Japa, that is Japa and Artha Bhavana. For such person, Swarupa Darshanam Api Bhavati. So earlier he said Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma is the same thing. Tata Pratyak Chetanadhigama. That he is explaining. Pratyak Chetanadhigama. Once the disturbances they run away, what happens? Then he realizes his inner self. Then Swarupa Darshana api Darshanam api asya bhavati. Yathaiva Ishwarah Purushah Shuddhah Prasannah Kevalah Anupasargah Tata Ayamapi Buddheh Pratisamvediyah Purushah Tam Adhigacchati. So this is the Yathaiva Ishwarah Purusha, just as this Ishwara Purusha. In fact, who is this Ishwara? Ishwara is also called Purusha Visheshaha. So that is why Vyasa also is using the same expression. Ishwara Purusha. This Purusha called Ishwara, he is a Shuddha. Shuddha means what? Shuddha is in normal sense purity. And what is this purity? The commentators, they say, the devoid of the three gunas, that is Triguna-atita. This Purusha whom we are seeing here, he is a Triguna-atita. There is, in the earlier, of course, we saw that he assumes that mind, which is in order to create something like that, we saw. Of course, these two we have to reconcile here. He assumes that what is that Nirmanatmakam Buddhim, some such thing we saw. So he assumes that mind maybe, but then he is number one Triguna-atita. So this person is Triguna-atita, Shuddha, Prasannaha. Yathaiva Ishwara Purusha Shuddha Prasanna. Prasanna is undisturbed by anything. Prasada Buddhi. Prasada Buddhi, we get that word in Gita. One who has that Prasada Buddhi, that Samatva Buddhi, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, we see in Gita. That Samatva Buddhi gives Prasadatvam for the mind. And the person who has that Prasada is called Prasanna. Prasanna is the person who is having that Prasada Buddhi is Prasanna. That Prasanna is, for use of any better word, I have used this word tranquil, or not even peaceful. Peaceful also is not a correct word. Prasada is that Samatva Buddhi. Because of that Samatva Buddhi, he is happy. He just doesn't get disturbed. He is looking, seeing Brahman everywhere in that Vedanta sense. So that is the Prasanna Buddhi. So devoid of any kleshas. Commentators say devoid of any kleshas. Klesha is avidya, smita, raga. We are going to see them later. So these are then kevalaha. Prasannaha kevalaha. Kevala is, kevala means only alone. But here for that word kevala, the commentators give the meaning as devoid of attachment with dharma or adharma. Devoid of any attachment with dharma or adharma. Then kevalaha anupasargaha. Upasarga means any defect. Anupasargaha means faultless. And what are these faults? Human beings are born with jat, yayur, bhoga. That is, we are born, we are having a particular tenure of life, and then we do enjoy certain things. So we enjoy the fruit of that karma. So this anupasargaha, a person who is not having any attachment with all these things, devoid of the fruit of karma, etc. And similarly, just as this Purusha is a Ishvara Purusha, Shuddha, Prasannaha, Kevalaha, Anupasargaha, Atha, likewise, Ayamapi. Ayamapi means this person also, this Atma also, this Purusha also, Buddhehe Pratisamvediyah Purushaha. Buddhehe Pratisamvedi. Pratisamvedi means a witness. So we have seen that in the yoga philosophy also, that Purusha Chaitanya is something which reflects in the Antahkarana. Purusha is something which is totally different from Prakriti. And this mind is again a product of this Prakriti only, which is said to be inert. And in this inert mind, or in this inert, in is better word, in this inert mind, this consciousness is just flowing through. It is just flowing through like light passes through, let us say, a glass screen. Suppose there is a glass screen in between, and then light passes through. And if the glass is red, the light coming out also will be reddish in color. If this is pure white, the thing is also pure white. If it is dark, maybe some light passes through, some dark thing comes out. So like that, depending on the nature of antahkarana, the consciousness also, consciousness is like light falling on everybody. For example, the sunlight falls equally on all objects. And in some objects, the reflection may be pure. In some other objects, the reflection may not be pure. So it is like that. Human beings also, they vary like that. So here, buddheha pratisamvedi. So that consciousness or light is something which is falling equally and which is like a witness to all these things. So it is buddheha pratisamvedi purushaha. So that which is that concept, that this purusha also is the sakshi for the buddhi, sakshi for the buddhi. Tam adhigacchati, pratisamvediyah purushaha tam adhigacchati. That consciousness which is the sakshi for this buddhi, this seeker attains or understands. Adhigacchati means attains, that means realizes or understands. So I have translated it as, similarly this person, the seeker too, realizes that he is the witness or the pratisamvedi for the buddhi. Then we come to the next sutra, because these two sutras, only two lines commentary. The next sutra is also very simple, though there it is having so many words. Atha ke antarayaha ye chittasya vikshepaha. Atha, then ke antarayaha. What are those disturbances? We talked about so many disturbances. Ke antarayaha ye chittasya vikshepaha. Those which are the cause for vikshepa. Vikshepa means visheshena kshepanam. Kshepanam means throwing about. So here, of course, I forgot to tell one thing. Going back to pranava, I just wanted to tell about pranava. Why commentators have not given the meaning of this pranava? Tadarthascha, tadjapaha, tadartha bhavanam. So what in fact, no commentator has commented on that. I don't know, unfortunate. Because these people also, they accept the Vedas, they accept the Upanishads, so they have the same understanding. They have also taken the word pranava. Naturally, the pranava meaning also is same. You see, this pranava, here I will digress a little bit and then tell what is the meaning of pranava, as we see in Vedanta, which is also applicable to yoga. That is, we know that what is the supreme reality? Supreme reality is something which is infinite in nature. And then that is also something which is apart from that, there is nothing else. Infinity means apart from that, there is nothing else. So such a thing, we are supposed to designate by some symbol. Usually in symbols we see in mathematics, physics, etc. Mathematics, physics classes we see. For example, when we say R, it means radius. We go to a geometry class, 2 pi r, something like that. Pi is something, r radius, d is diameter. Or if you go to a physics class, it means G means gravity. Something mass, m means mass, so something like that. So does it mean that this Omkara also is a symbol like that? Then what is this Omkara? So the meaning, in fact, it is proper for us to know. Vedanta, particularly this Mandukya Upanishad, is said to be a sort of elaborated, there is an elaborate discussion in Mandukya Upanishad on this Omkara. And the Mandukya Upanishad, in the very beginning, it says, Bhutam Bhavat Bhavishyat Sarvam Omkara Eva. Bhutam, that is past, Bhavat, that which is existing, Bhavishyat, that which is going to exist. All these things is Omkara Eva. Then a question arises, what is this Omkara? Is this pen Omkara, or this book Omkara, and this computer Omkara? What is this Omkara? So a question arises, Bhutam Bhavat Bhavishyat Sarvam Omkara Eva. So then what is this, how is this derived, or how is it explained by the commentators in that Mandukya Bhashya, and also in Upanishads also, in several other Upanishads also, Chandogya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the discussion on Gayatri and also discussion on Omkara comes. So the discussion there, how it is explained is, Om is the product of, or rather a combination of 3 sounds called A, U and Ma. This everybody knows, A, U and Ma. Everybody knows that A plus U becomes O, Gunasandhi. A plus U, O becomes O. Then Shabda plus Ucharana, Shabdocharana. So something like that. Suddenly, A plus U becomes O. Then Ma. Ma, when we utter the word Ma, the lips close. Not even Ma. When we say the lips close and the words come to an end. So this A indicates the beginning of all words. A. Every child also, the child A is the most primary sound that the human being makes. That is, even a child, a newborn child, it only cries out A. It doesn't cry. It doesn't cry out K or B, or it doesn't cry out R. It cries out only A. So because that is the most primary sound. So from that only, some modification of the various parts of the mouth, that is the tongue, the teeth, the ridge, what is called the ridge of the upper lid, the ridge, the lower ridge, and again what is called the palate, the hard palate and soft palate, middle palate and the soft palate. So the tongue touching various places in the mouth, it produces so many sounds. The tongue, when it touches the teeth, it is dental. Then it touches the tip of the teeth, there is another word. Then again, labial, papa, papa, ma, they become labials with the lips only. So like that, and also retroflex sounds like na, la, something like that. So all these things, all this jugglery takes place with the movement of the tongue. So all that jugglery is indicated or indicated by that letter U. A is the very origin. U is that all that modifications which go on in the mouth, that is A, U, Ma. And again, thereafter also, when it goes on like that. And beyond that, again, it is called Turiya. I will explain what that also. So this, right now we'll say A, U, Ma. So what all words are there? All the words which are there, all the vastu, all the objects which are there in the world, they are all expressed by words. All objects which are there in the world, they are expressed by words. So that means every word, all the objects can be indicated. They can be called Vastu Prapancha. And that Vastu Prapancha is indicated by the Shabda Prapancha. And this entire Shabda Prapancha is contained in A, U and Ma. A is the beginning of all the Shabdas. U is all the modification which goes on. When we say Ma, that closes, that is the closure. That is A, U, Ma, it symbolically represents the entire Shabda Prapancha. It can apply to all languages. That is, all words which are uttered by the human being in all languages, they can be taken by this word Om, A, U, Ma. And again, Shabda means Vastu Prapancha also. Shabda Prapancha correlates with the Vastu Prapancha. So that means all the objects which are there, which were there, and which will be there, all those things, they are designated by this word Om. Then again, this A, U, Ma, I'm just giving in a very, very sketchy manner. This A, U, Ma also represents the three states of mind. That is, A represents the Jagrada Avastha. Jagrada Avastha is the waking state. In the waking state, we have got so many interactions, so many vasanas, and then so many samskaras, they are formed, and then so much of activity is there. So that A represents the Jagrada Avastha. U represents the Swapna Avastha. Because in this Swapna, in the dream state, the mind again creates its own world. And again, we are interacting. We feel it is real. All the dream experiences at that particular time, we feel they are all real. So the dream world is also there. The dream world is represented by that U. And Ma is represented by that Sushupti. And in that Sushupti also, consciousness continues. Objectless consciousness continues even in that Sushupti. In this waking state, there is object. Yes, there is a physical object. In the dream state, there is a dream object. But in that Sushupti, there is consciousness, but objectless consciousness continues. So that, of course, there is all the discussions in Vedanta, they show that. And again, consciousness is not confined to this only. Consciousness is something which is all pervading. That is what is called Turiya. That Turiya Avastha is beyond this A, U, Ma, is also there, that consciousness is there. And if you are able to reach that state, You may be interacting with all these, you may be having all worldly experiences, but at the same time, you are above them all. You are above all of them. So that is the Turiya Avastha. Even while undergoing all these things or seeing all these things, you are at the same time in them and above them. So that is what is Turiya Avastha. So that is very beautifully described in Vidyaranya's Panchadashi. So then, okay, this Jagrata Avastha, Turiya Avastha, etc. Then again, another way of saying is, A is a Srushti, then U is a Sthiti, Ma is Laya. Srushti, Sthiti, Laya. All these things are again contained here. So this Shabda Prapancha and Vastu Prapancha, and that way all human experience. And again, what is called Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha, etc. This again, all human experience at the individual level also. Not only individual, one individual, but the entire totality of mankind at all times. Then again, this Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. So all these things put together, they are explained, they are conveyed in this word or letter or symbol called Om. So this is what is the commentary, the gist of commentary given by Sri Shankaracharya in not only in Mandukya Upanishad, but in the other Upanishads also. Mandukya Upanishad, he particularly uses these words Shabda Prapancha, Vastu Prapancha, etc. So Shabda cannot be different from Vastu. The same, something similar to what we saw, that Shabda and Vastu, that is Nitya Sambandha. So that also comes into picture there. So then, so that is what is a small digression about Pranava Japa. Because otherwise, what is the meaning of Omkara? The commentators unfortunately have not told. So we have to read Mandukya Upanishad Bhashyam for that. At least some introductory portions. Somebody, the meaning of Om, maybe if you listen to somebody like Swami Sarvapriyananda. There is one Swamiji called Sarvapriyananda who teaches in that Vedanta Society of California. So there, that gentleman, he gives beautiful lectures on Veda, on various topics like this. The meaning of Om, similarly, the definition of God. So such topics are there. So we can see those things. Sarvapriyananda on the meaning of Om. You can go to YouTube and then search. Now we come to this 30th Sutra. The Sutra says, Ke te antarayaha chittasya vikshepaha. What are those disturbances to the mind? Ke punaha te kiyantaha means how many? Kiyantaha, how many are they? Then what are they? Vyadhi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramad, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti, Darshana, Alabdha, Bhumikatva, Anavasthitattvani, Chitta Vikshepaste, Antarayaha. A very, very long Bahupada Dvandva Samasa. In grammar we call it Bahupada Dvandva. Rama Lakshmana, if we say Rama Lakshmana is Dvandva Samasa. Rama Lakshmana Bharata Shatrughnah is Bahupada Dvandva Samasa. Here also it is Vyadhi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati. So if we break it, we know some of these words. Vyadhi is a very common word. Vyadhi is illness. Sthana is a definite meaning of sthana. Idleness, in some places it is said idleness. But when we see the etymological meaning and also the meaning as used in Kavyas, Uttara Ramacharita, we found this word sthana. Sthana, there it is used in the sense of heaviness. It can also be heaviness, because idleness is again told laziness, idleness, laziness, not much difference. So sthana, it can also mean heaviness. Vyadhi sthana. Heaviness means maybe heaviness of the body, because suppose I do some overeating. Because of overeating, there is some heaviness of body and mind, and I am not able to concentrate, I am not able to study, I feel sleepy. So that sort of thing. Then samshaya. Samshaya is uncertainty. Whether this is right or whether that is right, samshaya. Then pramada. Pramada, in Telugu we use it wrongly. Pramada means road to pramadam, we say road accident. It is not accident. Pramada is inattentiveness. That is pramado anavadhanata, says dictionary. According to dictionary, anavadhanata. Avadhanata means concentration, focusing. Anavadhanata means lack of concentration, uncertainty, or not uncertainty, inattentiveness. That is carelessness also we can say. Carelessness or inattentiveness is more appropriate. Pramada. Then alasya. Alasaha means lazy person. Alasasya bhavaha alasyam. Alasyam. That is alasyam is laziness. Then aviratihi. Avirati. What is avirati? Rati means attachment. Virati, Viragaha, like Viraga and Viraga. Virati means dispassion, not dispassion, let us say disaffection or detachment. Attachment opposite is detachment. Avirati means lack of detachment. That means you are still clinging on to things. Then absence of withdrawal from sense objects. So that is it. Then Bhranti Darshana. Bhranti is, what is that? Wrong understanding. Bhranti Darshana. Bhranti is Brahma. The mind is not having a clear idea. That is Bhranti Darshana is totally misapprehension, misconception. Then Alabdha Bhumikatva. Alabdha Bhumikatva. That yoga bhumi, that a particular level of yoga is not attained. Bhumi means a particular level. Bhumi, not the ordinary ground. Yoga bhumi, chittasya bhumayaha. We saw in the very, very first sutra, we saw that. Then alabdha bhumikatva, not attaining any level of steadiness in yoga. There are very, very many levels of that yoga. In that yoga, we have not even attained any level of steadiness. Then anavasthitattvani, avasthitam, stha dhatu, stha means to stay. Avasthitam is very well fixed. Anavasthitam means mind is not fixed. Fickleness of mind, it is just moving here and there. So these are the chitta vikshepaha, te antaraya. These are the distractions of mind. Vikshepa, we saw the word vikshepa, shepa. Vikshiptam, chittam, vikshiptam, mudham, we saw in the very first sutra. Vikshepa, these are all the distractions of the mind, which are the disturbances. These are the distractions, which are the they are the disturbances. They are the antaraya. They just come in between. Suddenly something happens and the mind gets drawn by that, and my mind is wandering on that. So that is what these are all such disturbances which distract a person, which don't allow that samadhi to take place. These are all the distractions in the path of that samadhi. Then we come to the, this is the translation. The disturbances which are the distractions of the mind are illness, idleness, I can as well say heaviness, uncertainty of mind, heaviness, idleness, uncertainty of mind, inattentiveness, laziness, and not withdrawing from sense objects. Then again, misconception and failure to attain steadiness and fickleness of mind. These are the distractions of the mind which disturb the yogi. Then let us see the commentary. Commentary also is simple. Nava antarayaha chittasya vikshepaha. Nava means 9. Nava antarayaha. There are 9 types of disturbances. 9 disturbances. We can say type, and I can actually remove also. 9 disturbances we can say, or 9 types of disturbances, which are distractions of mind. Chittasya vikshepaha. Saha ete chittavruttibhir bhavanti. Chittavruttibhihi saha ete bhavanti. If you readjust word, saha ete chittavruttibhir bhavanti means saha ete chittavruttibhihi bhavanti. Chittavruttibhihi saha ete bhavanti. So these disturbances, they occur along with various chittavrittis. Suppose I see something that is chittavritti is formed, and when I see something I get angry. Suppose I see some filth on the road or somebody making huge noise on the road, I get irritated. So these are the things. When I see a thing, the chittavritti is formed, and that chittavritti is giving rise to various things. These are the things. I eat, for example, all these things like illness. Illness, of course, illness is something which can happen casually. Idleness, uncertainty of mind, all these things come along with these chittavrittis. So if you break or rather control those chittavrittis, these things also will disappear. That is what we have to do. Sahaite chittavrittibhir bhavanti. Etesham abhave na bhavanti purvoktaha chittavrittayaha. Without these things, the aforesaid purvoktaha means purvam uktaha, that is which were told earlier. Purvoktaha chittavrittayaha etesham abhave na bhavanti. Without these things, without all these things, the chittavrittis will not happen. Usually chittavrittis will not happen. Then what is this vyadhi? Vyadhihi dhatu rasa karana vaishamyam. Dhatu rasa karana vaishamyam. So we can, maybe somebody having some knowledge of Ayurveda will say, what is this dhatu? Dhatu, commentators have said vata, pitta, kapha. I don't know what exactly are they, but maybe that is a one way. Imbalance of the, I have used the same word dhatu. Vyadhihi dhatu rasa karana vaishamyam. Vaishamyam is some sort of imbalance. Vishama, sama means balance. Vishama means imbalance. Vaishamyam, that is imbalance. So that is imbalance of dhatus. It can be taken as imbalance of dhatus, imbalance of rasa, or imbalance of sense organs. Karana, karana is a sense organ. So imbalance of dhatu, imbalance of food, and imbalance of sense organs. Or it can also be taken as the vaishamyam, the imbalance among these three, the imbalance among dhatu, rasa, karana. That also we can take. We can take it this way also, imbalance of food. Rasa is something to do with food only. That food, when we take the food, what are the effects of that food? So that is the meaning given in the commentary. Then rasa, karana is indriya, vaishamya. Then styanam akarmanyata chittasya. Akarma, styanam is, we saw that word vyadhi styana, the second word. Akarmanyata. Karmanyata means the tendency to be active. Karmanyata, tendency to be active, to do karma always. Akarmanyata, tendency to be inactive. Tendency to be inactive of the mind. Why? It can happen due to heaviness of mind, or it can also be laziness. But laziness he has used 2 times, so I have avoided the word laziness and I have used the word heaviness. Heaviness is the mind's tendency for inaction. Styanam akarmanyata chittasya. Chittasya akarmanyata. That is a tendency to be just dull, sit dull in a dull fashion. Then samshayaha ubhayakoti spruk vijnanam. Spruk vijnanam, you have to break it. Ubhayakoti spruk vijnanam syad idam evam naivam sya na evam syat iti. Samshayaha, samshaya is doubt or uncertainty. Ubhayakoti spruk vijnanam. Knowledge of or deliberation. Is this right or that right? Ubhayakoti. Ubhayakoti means 2 ends. Koti means 2 ends. Koti means a particular end. Ubhayakoti, both ends. Is this right or that right? Horns of a dilemma, as we say. That is horns of a dilemma. That horns with this koti and another koti. So, Ubhayakoti spruk. Spruk means that which sprushati, that which touches. Spruk means that which touches. Ubhayakoti spruk vijnanam, that which touches, or oscillating between that and this. Ubhayakoti spruk, it is oscillating between that end and this end. Ubhayakoti spruk vijnanam. Syat idam evam. Oh, probably. Syat means idam evam syat. Oh, this might be like this. Idam evam syat. Syat idam evam means idam evam syat means, oh, this might be like this. Or naivam syat, evam na syat. Oh, it may not be like this. This might be so, it might not be so. Then this is this sort of ubhayakoti vijnanam. This also is a sort of disturbance. Then pramadaha. Okay, from here I have not written the translation. It doesn't matter. Pramadaha samadhi sadhananam abhavanam. So pramada is inattentiveness. Samadhi sadhananam abhavanam. Samadhi sadhanani. What are the samadhi sadhanani? We have seen that say things like mantra japa, mantra tadartha, artha bhavana, etc., etc. All those things, abhavanam. We are not doing any bhavana. So that is what is inattentiveness. We have not done swadhyaya. We have not done that mantra. Swadhyaya is very important for mantra japa. Swadhyaya is knowing the content. Unless we know the content, what is it we meditate upon? So that is all these things, we are not bothered about them. That is pramadaha. Then alasyam kayasya chittasya cha gurutvad apravrittihi. Alasyam, that laziness, kayasya chittasya cha. Kaya means body, chitta means mind. Cha gurutvad is heaviness. Guru is heavy, isn't it? Gurutvad apravrittihi. So the body is not interested in doing it. Maybe I have to correct this earlier line, because Vyasa has given this meaning as alasyam kayasya chittasya gurutvad apravrittihi. The earlier thing, that heaviness, instead of heaviness, I can as well use that word laziness actually. I can as well use that word laziness for this. What is this? Alasyam vyadhihi styanam ubhayakoti Yeah, this word. Vyadis, Dhyana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya. Alasya, I can use a different word. So I think we will stop here because we are almost 57. If there are any questions, we'll discuss up to this point.
Thank you, sir. There's a question from Yoga Shri ji.
Sorry?
One question from Yoga Shri ji. Namaste. As per the Shastras, Atman is something which cannot be destroyed. In that case, how is that there is so much increase in the population? Does that mean Atman can be created? If so, who creates it?
Yeah, that is what we have discussed all these things, because Atma is like the sunlight. In sunlight, there is no division. In that Atma, there is no division. That consciousness which is infinitely pervading, in that consciousness, there cannot be any divisions. So population is something which is dependent on Prakriti. Prakriti is the creator for all this population. So this Prakriti, it may create millions and millions. They are like millions and millions of water bodies. Suppose there are millions and millions of water bodies. It does not matter for the sun. The sun reflects on all of them. So similarly, there can be millions and millions of bodies, millions and millions of people. So on all the antahkaranas, the same intelligence will be moving. But depending on the constitution of those minds, because the constitution of mind also is important. Somebody may be having a sattva constitution. Somebody may be having a rajasa constitution. One is sattvika constitution. The other is rajasa constitution predominantly. The other is tamasa constitution, let us say. So a person with the tamasa constitution will always be taking a sword or a gun and then coming out. So like that, the same intelligence, the same consciousness is activating all the minds. The same consciousness or intelligence, dhiyo yona prachodayat. So the same consciousness is activating all the minds. Whatever be the population, it doesn't matter. So there is no, this consciousness or Brahman or Atma has nothing to do with that.
So Sumit is asking,
yes please.
Sir, do disturbances cause chitta vritti, or are they from our past impressions?
Are they from?
Our past impressions, samskaras.
Past impression also play a role. Yes, it also plays a role, because I have a tendency to hate noise, suppose I have a tendency to hate noise, or I have a tendency to dislike a particular thing. So that particular thing, when I see it, I may get irritated. So that is the reason why we have to also slowly attenuate our vasanas also, all our samskaras and vasanas, both positive and negative, they have to be attenuated. That is the reason why we call it vasana kshayam. That vasana kshayam has to take place in order to realize the supreme reality. So it can be partly due to that also, partly due to the object and partly due to our own samskaras also.
Thank you, sir. Basavaraj Garu is asking, is Pratyak Chetana is Atma of Advaita?
I believe, I think so, because it can't be different. In Vedanta, we call it Pratyagatma. Kaschid Dhira Pratyagatman, what is this? Pratyagatmanam Aikshat. Pratyagatmanam Aikshat. But here we are calling it Pratyak Chetana. Chetana is the same as consciousness. Chaitanyam and Chetana and Atma are one and the same, isn't it? So Pratyak Chetana, I think what they say is the same thing as Pratyagatma. The only difference between Vedanta and Yoga is, in Vedanta, Atma is one and the same, indivisible. But here, there are so many divisible Purushas. In this consciousness, there are so many divisions. So that is the one important point of difference between Sankhya and Vedanta. Vedanta says consciousness is something which is something like it cannot be divided, indivisible. Here, no, it is divisible, they say. That is divisible eternally also. So that is something which is not reconciled.
The other question from Shivkumar ji is, sir, how is the constitution of the mind created?
Yeah, constitution depends on the Prakriti, isn't it? Prakriti, Yeah, the parent Prakriti and also both the parents, their Prakriti also is there. And depending on our own past karma, the Linga Sharira will be looking for an appropriate body. Suppose the Linga Sharira is having all positive samskaras. It is looking for a nice body. Looking for somebody, okay, Suchinam, Srimatam, Gehe, or Athava, Yoginam Eva. This Linga Sharira will be looking for such bodies. Or my Linga Sharira is full of all types of dirty things, dirty activities, or dirty mind. So my Linga Sharira picks up such dirty body only. So it is like that. So the body is something which is depending on the parents and again the karma of this individual person.
Thank you, sir. Pooja Balasubramanya is asking, Namaste, sir. What should be the matra for Om chanting? Does it vary or should be equal? AUM, matra for AUM.
Yeah. That is matra is not long matra. A, U, ma, that's all. A plus U plus ma, that's all. A, U, ma. I don't think it has to be long. A, U, ma. I don't think it is A, U, ma. It's just A, U, ma. Because they are just symbolic. A, symbolizing the origin of all Shabda. U, symbolizing what all goes in between. What all goes in between in the sense that all creation of all words. It is something which is the end of all subjects, all sounds. So, A, U, ma, Lagu Matra, I think it is good enough. I don't know about it. Lagu Matra or Dirgha Matra, I'm not sure.
But Matra is same to all A, U, ma.
All
A, U, ma, the Matra will be equal.
Yeah.
It is equal.
Okay, people also say because the words have to close, isn't it? That resolution has to take place.
Sir, Chandana ji is asking, can you please give an example of God disturbances and how it caused the vrittis in mind?
God disturbances.
Yeah, Adi Daivika, I think.
Oh, it's not so. Adi Daivika is something different. Adi Daivika does not mean that, those disturbances. You see, Adhyatma is something, Adi Atma. That is something related to one's own self is Adhyatma. That is my own, today I'm having a bad mood and rather I had some sort of quarrel in my house or something like that. That is Adhyatma. Or maybe I react to some news item or something like that. Adhyatma, something which is there in my mind. Then Adi Bhautika, no, Adhyatma is not even news. News becomes Adi Bhautika. Then Adhyatma is something which is there in my own body and mind. I feel rather dull or I feel rather heavy. These are the things. Then Adi Bhautika is Bhautika, something relating to external objects. Adi Daivika is something which is unanticipated. Usually people used to give examples of cyclones, etc. Now we can give the example of coronavirus. Again, Adi Daivika, something which has come unexpectedly. And usually in our books we talk about cyclones. So such things, earthquakes, cyclones, etc. These are Adi Daivika things, which is unanticipated, unforeseen. These are the Adi Daivika things. So some divine, we don't know whether there is a divine hand or not, but we call them divine, Adi Daivika, something relating to that divine.
That's all, sir. I request all viewers to download the notes prepared by you. I shared the link here in the chat box. I request all of them to download it and keep it for their reference. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Harihi Om. That's it.